Welcome to Tyrompers No Limit Podcast.
What is going on, you beautiful, blessed boys and girls? Thanks for tuning in to Tyrompers No Limit Podcast. This is episode number 42, guys. We're always fired up, but today, boys and girls, I'm going to rep the brand. I'm going to rep the hat. This man right here just sent me some samples. He is the greatest man I've ever talked to on Twitter. I love this guy. This is a man with a massive heart, spirit, and a dude I admire so much. A man that is the co-founder of the Magnificent Seven mushroom strawberry drink powders, the hat I was just wearing. Pretty fire stuff, man. I've been drinking this the last couple days. A man that saw his dad leave at 2 years old, his brother murdered at 25, diagnosed with I know I'm going to mispronounce this, leiomyosarcoma.
It took me 7 years to pronounce it. Leiomyosarcoma.
Okay, man. I knew I was going to butcher that, man, no matter how many times I practiced it at 44.
Even longer to spell it.
That could win you a spelling bee if you knew that one.
Yeah.
He lost most of his leg at 44. His first fund passed at 48. His leg was amputated above the knee in 2022. Through it all, this man, in his words, has never stopped smiling. I admire this man from the bottom of my heart. He inspires me daily. He is also criminally underfollowed on social media. This is my brother, Richie McPeak. Let's change that today. Welcome to the pod, Richie. How you doing today, bro?
Great, Tyler. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your podcast. And, I'm so thankful we met in this new digital world on Twitter. You've inspired me with all of your posts, about family and succeeding in life and lifting everybody up. You've lifted me up. Thank you, Tyler.
Brother, that's so mutual, man. You're just a man that I feel like, you face a lot of adversity in your life, but you keep smiling, you keep battling back, you keep coming through it. So maybe give the people, somebody who might not know you out there, just 2-3 minute introduction about yourself, Richie, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Thank you. So on the family side, I've been blessed with 3 children, an amazing wife, and I started in our family's health food store in the early 90s, and listening to consumers and looking them in the eyes. You build a trust when you look in somebody's eyes and you shake their hand. So when I heard what consumers were looking for, I always tried to bring the best ingredient, the best product. And when we start creating our own products after years of hard work, that's what we wanted to do, build trust with consumers, clean ingredient, and be transparent and have testing. And, I've always had, life was pretty easy for a while, to be honest. And then, I got punched in the face a few times. I think Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face, right? And it happened. Life was cruising along, and at 44, I had a little bump on my lower leg, and they told me that it was a sarcoma. And I'd never even heard of sarcoma. And I told the doctors they're crazy because I was a vegetarian for a year before I got diagnosed. And I didn't eat bacon for 15 years because I heard it was bad for you. So, I'm like, you're crazy. There's no way this could be cancer. I don't smoke. I work out. I eat healthy. I don't eat bacon, but it was. And it was leiomyosarcoma, which originally, Tyler, they gave me about 6 months to live. And they ended up taking out my knee, my tibia, my fibula, cut my calf in half and attached it to a steel knee. And then I did 400 hours of chemotherapy, 96 hours at a time, radiation. And, through it all, I smiled because I saw people in the hospital who had it much worse than me, who were really suffering. And so I was laughing with my kids, and we apologized to a nurse for being loud, and she said, no, keep laughing. That's what we need to hear. There's so much crying here. And that really stuck with me. And then we had the opportunity to build our own company. We were the first certified organic gummy supplements with the USDA seal, European Union, and non-GMO project. And then recently, December 2020, my cancer came back, and I'd already kind of decided to amputate my leg because there was not a lot of left of the leg. It was like Frankenstein's monster at this point. And kids would scream when they saw me coming. But then the cancer came back, so we really didn't have a choice. So they amputated above the knee and told me now that I'm 50, I might not move and I'll be pretty limited, but I didn't believe it up here that I would. And those things have been easy to overcome, relatively speaking. I think, two of the biggest blows I've had in my life when I was 25, my little brother Troy, we're a year and 3 months apart, he was murdered. And that was a real big blow by 4 criminals. And there was a time when I sought vengeance. and that poison was eating me alive. So my first son, Conor, was born, and I chose love over vengeance and hate. And, my real father, as you alluded to in the beginning, left when I was 2. So, I thought about, if I do something that puts me in prison, then I'm going to repeat a cycle, and my son's going to lose his father. So I chose a different path. And then I think the single biggest blow is January 30th, 2018. We lost our beautiful son, Conor, to suicide. And man, Tyler, at his funeral, we wanted to stand and shake the hand of every person that came. And 2.5 hours into shaking hands, the funeral director came up and said, "We have to stop this because there is a line a mile down the road, 4 deep. I've never seen anything like this." And everybody, to a T, said how kind my son was, how he treated others and uplifted others. There was a kid that came from the 6th grade. He met my son. He was in band. Everybody made fun of him, but he said, "My son didn't." A hurricane was coming, and the lady, he overheard her at a restaurant saying she didn't have any help, and him and some friends helped board up her house during a hurricane. And
Wow.
so he was a young man who was the wrestling captain, debate captain, played football, a philosopher, a kind human being, one of the single most disciplined, toughest kids. He aced the Florida FCAT, which essentially at that time like acing the SAT or ACT. The ACT got a 34 out of 36. So, here was one of the most tough, disciplined, kind human beings I ever met. And so, when people sometimes allude suicide is quitting or weakness, here I saw one of the strongest, kind, disciplined human beings lose his life to this disease. And it was devastating, Tyler. But I'm grateful for the 22 years I had with my son, Conor.
Man, there's so much to unpack there. Yeah, I feel like the mental health crisis, in our society and other societies around the world, a lot of Western societies, I would say, is very underlooked. And people do often have that stigma of, oh, it's weakness or it's this or that. But as you alluded to, oftentimes I just saw, a week or two ago, it was I think the winner of like Miss World or something ended up, and this is the highest of high achievers, so often it's just the mental illness part is overlooked. I can't imagine as a father. And, one thing I love, on yours, you said growing up with no dad, but, the first thing in your bio on Twitter is father,
Yes.
and I know how much pride you take in that. So, can you kind of start back at the beginning and becoming a dad to all of your kids and what that's meant, and then, kind of get into that a little bit more, I guess, as we go.
Absolutely. I put that there because, we get different chances in life. My real dad left when I was 2. My mom is my hero. But when I found out I was going to be a father, God gave me a second chance. I didn't have a father here on earth. I had God, but now I get to be a father. So, when I found out my first son, Conor, was coming, I actually looked up every book. I read books, how to be a father. I went to counseling because I said, I don't know how to be a father. I've never had a father. I had mentors in my life, my wrestling coach and others. So I went to a family counselor. Diane Harder was her name. And she said, "Richie, let me give you the 2 things you're going to need to be a father." And I'm like, oh no, what's this going to be? How am I going to do this? She said, time and love. She said, give them time and love. And that is the foundation to being a father. So our first son, Conor, was born, and, I tried to give him as much time and love as possible. And it's one of the reasons I went in to my own business, because in the beginning, I was on the road 6 days a week, working, educating about vitamin supplements, and I was missing a lot of his life.
Yeah.
And so had a wonderful time being a father with him and growing up with him. We were young. I think I was 25 when he was born. So I kind of got to grow up with him. And then my son Troy came along, and I went to my grandmother and my mom, and I said, we haven't said the name Troy in so long because it was so painful from the murder of my brother Troy. And I asked my mom, my grandmother, do you mind if we name our second son Troy, so we can bring this name and beauty and love back to it.
Wow.
And so I named my second son Troy after my brother.
That's super powerful, man.
Yeah. And then we found out we're going to have a girl, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do with a girl. I got 2 boys.
What are we going to do with the girls, man? Now you got to learn about princesses and play tea parties and all this stuff, right?
Yes. And then I tell you, what a blessing. My best friend, when I was going through 400 hours of chemo, 96 hours at a time, she was 10 years old, Tyler. She never left my side. She stayed in the hospital bed with me 100 hours at a time. We watched cartoons and talked and laughed. She got the little ice cream things and a dip.
Man.
You know, what Diane said was true. Time. Give them the time. That's the currency of love. So, you know, no matter how busy I was or what we're doing, I always made time to travel and do little adventures and outdoors, volunteer to coach them in sports and be around them and just spend a lot of time. And then one lesson I learned, you know, I think one thing we're losing in this society is stress and struggles can strengthen us, not make us a victim, right? So many people are playing a victim. So my stepdad, you know, I've been hit with everything a man could hold in his hand, but I'm not a victim. It taught me how to be a better father. So I hugged my kids every day. I kissed them. You know, I did ways of disciplining them that they can understand, talking, rewards. And, you know, fortunately, all 3 of them got letters from their teachers, how well behaved and other things. So, you know, for that was about breaking another cycle of violence and confusion for me with my kids.
That's super powerful, man. You know, you allude to that. It's almost become like a badge of honor that people wear now to be a victim, who can be more of a victim. They're almost even teaching this in some school, you know, and for you to kind of have that mindset shift of, hey, you know, life doesn't happen to me. It happens for me to strengthen me and grow through it. And you've certainly had your share of adversity, my man. And I think a lot of people, these things would happen to you that are negative, and they would roll over and they would just die. And they would say, you know what, I am a victim. I'm going to go this other route. Right. But you just keep smiling, you keep fighting back. And, you know, the fruit that you produce outside of that, man, I mean, you're such a positive guy and influencing so many other people positively, and your family and your kids, and breaking those cycles. I mean, I just admire you, man, from the bottom of my heart, brother, to overcome the things you have. Where do you think that inner strength comes from for you?
You know, I think through a lot of struggle, that inner strength, we build it. To your point, we can stay down and quit, or we can get back up. And I think when we're looking at great struggles or great adversity, I learned something when I was doing 400 hours of chemotherapy. I was about 300 hours in, and I was watching Lone Survivor with Marcus Luttrell, and I had the opportunity to be on their podcast. Yeah. And, you know, I saw him drawing a line in the sand and crawling, and I read his book. And at one point, all he was doing was drawing a line in the sand and just making it to that line. And Tyler, I couldn't imagine how I was going to make it to the 400th hour of chemotherapy. And then I realized I don't have to make it 100 more hours. I just got to make it one more breath, one more step. So I came up in my mind that every step is a finish line. And that's how I look at adversity and struggle. And that's how I keep smiling, because if every single step that we do in life and business is a finish line, then we're crossing finish lines every moment, every day, all day. Now, of course, we get knocked on our butt. When they recently told me I have 2 tumors in my chest again, and that knocked me down. But then I got back up, and getting back up was a finish line. And it kept me smiling. So that's, I think, where it builds, you know, those inner struggles build strength, and then not getting overwhelmed and having small victories every single day, every week, every month, every year. And then, you know, it's that saying, when you walk a step after step after step, you look back and you've made a marathon, you don't realize it.
It's so true, man. Yeah, there's so much wisdom in that. When I was at probably the lowest point in my life, I remember calling my dad and telling him I'm having an anxiety attack, this and that. And he said, you don't need to win the next 10 years of your life. You're worried about all these problems. He said, win the next minute.
Yes.
Break it down into small, micro, manageable pieces, and just win the next minute. And man, that was such a light bulb that went off in my head when he told me that I don't need to solve all the world's problems. You don't have, I'm sure when my mom went through some chemo, and, she's a previous guest on the pod, and, talked about that. That's not a pleasant experience. Right. And for you, 400 out, when you're starting that, it's got to feel overwhelming. If you allow your mind to go there. You can also choose to tell your mind, it's just 1 minute. I just got to get through this next minute, win the next minute. Such a powerful shift, man. That takes a lot of inner strength. And like what you said, going through that adversity has actually hardened you. It's almost like a diamond. That's when they become beautiful, right? When they go through that pressure. And so you attribute a lot of that to going through a lot of hard things in your life.
I do. And before, one other thing that really has, I think, built my strength. How's your mom doing now?
She's in remission, full remission, man, for 5 or 6 years. Yeah. Wonderful, man.
Awesome.
Yeah. And thank you.
I think cancer and chemo and the treatments and the fear and anxiety are as hard on you and kids, family, the caretakers, as they are on us, because we have to go through it. We have to watch it, publicly, thinking, what can I do? So my heart goes out to you and your family also, and your dad, because I know that struggle and I see it in my family.
I appreciate that, man. And that story, I got chills really hard when you're saying that your daughter never left your side, just right by daddy. And my wife is currently on a mission trip. And so my daughter and I are having 10 slumber parties in a row. We're on like night 8.
Awesome.
And it's a dad-daughter bond. It's one thing, I think when a lot of men hear they're going to have a girl, the first thing they think is, I don't know what to do, and I never, if you would ask me 6 years ago, dude, I know every Disney princess. I know I know all these things now.
Once Mulan 100 times.
Oh, bro, right. You can quote the thing after a while, but it's a different kind of relationship that you have with the daddy-daughter that's really special. And I just love, man, Richie, you inspire me for so many reasons, but the fatherhood aspect, man, I kind of look at mine. I had a really great dad and a really great role model that just kind of gave me the blueprint. Here's what you should prioritize. When I'm struggling, I can call my dad. He can talk me through it. But you kind of had to figure out all these things on your own. And it like, I didn't know this until chatting with you. And I love hearing you, dude, you were intentional. You sought it out. You went and found experts. You went and read things. You went and tried to apply all these things. And it's no wonder you've seen a lot of success from that,
Thank you. One of the other key reasons, Tyler, I think I was in wrestling. I wrestled in high school. I had the chance to go over and train at the Pan American Games. And we had a wrestling coach, Coach Ken Pritz, one of the most faithful, strong, kind men, and he held me accountable. When I wanted to quit, when it got hard, he sucked me back in. He was 6'1", 220. I wasn't going anywhere. When I lost faith, he gave me faith. He had, him and his wife were trying for a girl, and they had 5 boys and gave up. So I got to see the fatherhood aspect of that. And this man taught me so much about life. And then wrestling does. In wrestling, you get in a circle by yourself in front of the world. You're in a singlet, basically naked.
Yeah.
And you put the work in, you seek the work, you get a little bit lucky, you have success. If you do not, you are exposed. And there are times in wrestling when you don't have the strength to lift your pinky off the mat, and you have to find a way to do it. The lessons I was taught from wrestling and in that circle have translated in life and business and fatherhood more than I could have ever imagined. And I had the chance to go back a few months ago and introduce my family to my coach. That's awesome. It was so amazing. And he told him, yeah, Richie was a handful. I was a little bit mischievous, but having that man in my life and having wrestling in my life is another great point where I reach and find strength. Because what I tell people in wrestling, you can be down by 5 points with 3 seconds to go, and it looks like everything's over. And you can find one move, make one small adjustment, put somebody on their back, pin them, and 3 seconds later, you win. So there's so many, it's so cerebral, wrestling, and it translates to life and business.
I like that. As long as you got breath in your body, man, you got a chance, right? And I feel like too many people are going through life and they hit maybe a roadblock, and often it's not even your fault. Like, look, a cancer diagnosis isn't your fault. You're a healthy guy, right? You're taking care of your body. You're doing what you should do. all of a sudden my mom was, dude, a beacon of health, just literally the healthiest woman in the world, never smoked, doesn't drink, doesn't do all these, just super healthy. But it's not your fault that you get knocked down in life, right? And that can be a boss, that can be a coworker, it can be a many different things, but it is always your choice if you choose to get back up and fight. And it sounds like, that man instilled that into you, that kind of fight, that kind of grit, that wrestling kind of developed that in you. And you've been able to carry that throughout your whole life, which is just, it's incredible. And it shows me the value of, man, like, what if that guy never poured life into you? What if he just wasn't his best self? And what if he just, Richie's kind of a screw off, let him do whatever. And he never instilled that in you. Look at how different now your family would be, your business would be, the people you affect would be, and it shows that ripple effect of why it's so critical every day that we're on fire and we pour into other people when they're at low points and help them too, man. I think that's a really powerful lesson.
That's a great point. And he poured, really, it's a cliche, the unconditional love and guidance a man and God and faith can give you. No matter what you do, somebody is going to be there for you in the good and hold you accountable when you're not doing, and give you the discipline you need. And I think my greatest inspiration of strength, though, my mother. My mother is 5'3", just a spitfire. When I was growing up in high school, she never missed a wrestling match, a football game. She worked 2 jobs, went to school and got her degree in honors, and went from a secretary to running school board financial systems right in COBOL. My mother did all of this while juggling a million things. And she empowered so much strength in me. And so when we talk about daughters and women, and I hear this thing that women aren't equal to men, you're right. We're not equal to them. My boys couldn't handle seeing me at chemotherapy. My daughter wasn't going anywhere. My mom, I never saw a single problem in life that she could not find a way to solve with hard work and believing in herself and perseverance. And so she just instilled so much strength and inspiration in me.
That's awesome, man. I'm sure she's got, so proud of you, seeing you kind of journey through and where you've gotten to go at life and stuff like that. That's just incredible, man. I appreciate you sharing all that. And, one thing that always fires me up, Richie, too, is you're still getting to the gym all the time, man. I mean, you're literally going through chemo. They're hacking parts of your leg off, dude. You're smiling at the gym. And I'm like, okay, man, I'll get up some days and I'll be like, I don't feel like going today. And then I'll pull up Twitter and I'm like, Richie's at the gym. Look at him getting after it, man. I'm gonna get after it too. So what gives you kind of the strength and the motivation to keep pushing yourself in that way, man? Because I got to tell you, that fires me up more than anything I see on Twitter, man.
Thank you, Tyler. And I've turned into that guy where makes everybody feel bad. They're like, I was laying on the couch with a hurt back, and then I saw you working out, and now I'm not. I look at it again. I chose at one point to say this cancer is my opponent. I've got to understand it. I've got to try to figure out ways, if I can't beat it, to live with it. And one of the key reasons that my doctors have said I'm still here is staying healthy, working out, moving. And I believe a body in motion stays in motion. To your point earlier, it's our choice to lay down. Once we lay down and we don't get back up, it's over. So, I go every day, I'm trying to get up and, I think it's making adjustments when they, I used to run 5 miles a day and I trained with a force recon Marine. And then when they cut out my knee, my tibia, my fibula, I went from running 5 miles to walking 5 yards, and then 6 yards and 7 yards. And I really focus on every step as a finish line. And I just love working out. Wrestling, I grew up poor, so all I had was a jump rope and some cheap shoes. So I jumped rope everywhere. So, I started jump roping just because of what I love to do. And then people on Twitter and social media saw me jump roping on one leg. And they're like, I can't even jump rope on 2 legs. And my doctors are like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm sure you scare a lot of doctors, man. They're like, hey, Richie, why don't you go 80% today, brother? Why don't you not push 100, man?
I'll tell you, something incredible happened. So my son Conor wrestled, and he was training for MMA and studying the art of fighting. And we think that's part of what happened. He took a lot of fight injuries. But, in 2014, then in 2015, when I did all my treatments, the doctors gave me, about 6 months to live. They're like, go home and rest, put your feet up. It's kind of over. So Conor McGregor was going to fight Aldo in Vegas 2015. Yeah. So I said to my wife and kids, let's load up in the SUV and go on a National Lampoon vacation. So I put my feet up against the thing. I'm on a walker. My legs messed up. And man, we went on a National Lampoon vacation, but we went to Las Vegas. I got tickets to the McGregor fight. It ended up being Chad Mendez. And it was all these Irish people. And we saw McGregor win his first championship. Wow. And then when I was jump roping on Twitter, McGregor, when he broke his ankle in his last fight, he said, it's not what happens to you. It's what you do after something bad happens. Mm. And I said, that's right. I said, I lost my leg to cancer, but I'm back skipping in the gym again. And I think at one point, so many people on the island started retweeting it. Then he did a quote tweet and said, legendary Richie. He's like, we're going to have many a great night ahead of us, brother. And he started following me on Twitter. And I started screaming, yelling. My wife's like, my kids are like, and so, Conor McGregor was such an inspiration of my son, Conor, and us, and we got to see him. So to see him acknowledge the hard work I was putting in and the efforts, whether I was failing or succeeding, meant so much. And I tell people that those who have persevered in life with a lot of hard work, some luck and discipline, I think they recognize others who are trying to do the same thing, no matter what that level is, right? Agreed. I'm not jump roping for hours. It took me a year to get to 17 seconds of jump roping on one leg, but I never quit. And I took it every step as a finish line. So for me, I love working out. And when the days that I don't want to, I realize this could be the key to me living another day. So I kind of force myself to do it sometimes, but the majority of the time, I love seeing what I can do. And it's kind of a challenge to me. When they amputated my leg, my doctor, who I've been with 7 years, Dr. Doug Letson at Moffitt, amazing man. He said, okay, Richard, we just had a young lady, athletic, 35. Her leg was amputated above the knee. And we have a lady who's 65. We think you're going to recover more like the 65-year-old lady. And I'm like, listen, nothing against 65-year-old women. They're bad.
Right. You don't know me.
I feel like, I think he was just trying to tempt me, try to challenge me. And I tell you what happened, Tyler. I was drinking our powders every day, which have vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, probiotics. And they were worried about it healing properly. And they said, it'll be months before I can get a prosthetic. And then could be a year and a half before I start walking again. After 6 weeks, I had healed perfectly. They said, we've never seen anything like it. At 8 weeks, I was in my prosthetic. And at 9 or 10 weeks, I was walking. And, it was just such a blessing for all the hard work I put in my whole life. Every single tiny little investment was paying off, and every choice. Because now I realize that, speaking with so many amputees who a year later are trying to get in a prosthetic, or I've talked to some who are in wheelchairs, and my heart aches for them that have not gotten as far as I have. And it's not because I'm some Superman. It's because I really try to practice every little step as a finish line. And I think the other is, if we invest in ourselves and our health and our mental health every day, just a little bit, and we know we're going to have setbacks. We look at Warren Buffett. Any long-term investment that you make, and the most of the part, your discipline, you get a little lucky, is going to pay off. And it's always better to start sooner rather than later.
Amen, man. I fist pump. I'm getting chills as you speak, brother. You're so motivating, man. I do feel like that saying, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time is right freaking now. And so, you know what? Anybody who's out there listening to this, man, take a page out of Richie's playbook. Like, life is going to happen. I guarantee you, you can be smooth sailing along and something is going to happen to it. God forbid it is a cancer diagnosis. It is a divorce, like it happened in my case. It is I'm cheating on you, all this stuff, whatever, fired, whatever's going to come up, man. And I do feel like a big reason a lot of people today, they get knocked down and then they need a safe space and they need to go, they disappear for months and they lose themselves completely and they quit fighting, and when I heard you kind of saying it reminded me of one of my favorite books, man, Man's Search for Meaning. You ever read this book by Viktor Frankl?
Oh, I'm going to. Man's Search for Meaning.
Really good. He was in Nazi prison camp, and he said he could start to see by people's mindset that when they were going to die, he could tell when they lost hope and when that fight left them, that it was a matter of a day or two and they were done. And I love the fact that your doctor said, just go put your feet up. And you're like, nah, I'm gonna go to Vegas, then I'm gonna jump rope, then I'm gonna run, then I'm gonna, you had that fight in you, man. And I think that's so underrated, that you just got to get up and fight. You don't even have to have the best game plan. You don't need the best business plan. You don't need the best whatever. You just need to put one foot in front of the other, win that next little race, which happens every minute. I love the way you allude to that. And brother, you can look back a year from now, 3 years from now, and not even recognize yourself and all the progress you've made. And you're just a living testament to that, man. When the adversity hit, you were already hardened through it from a lot of these things. And hey, let's win the next minute. Let's win the next minute. Keep going, I
have goosebumps listening to you. And Man's Search for Meaning, I'm going to look that book up. It's so true. My doctors have said it, and I've seen it. When I was doing the first 100 hours of chemotherapy, there was a man who wasn't getting out of his bed, and we were sitting around and laughing and talking in another room. And then his wife came, and she's like, I'm watching you laugh and smile, and you're walking around with this big chemotherapy thing, all these chemos in me. And she's like, could you talk to my husband? I think he's given up. And I didn't know it from me, but I could see the desperation. And I felt like it might not be my place, but she asked, she's like, you have any words of encouragement? And I said, can you tell me a little bit about him? And she's like, he was a world-class swimmer, an athlete, a father, a businessman. So I went in his room and I introduced myself, and he introduced, and I said, your wife told me you're a world-class athlete and a father. And he smiled. And I said, you know what? Once a world-class athlete and a father, always a world-class athlete and a father. So this right now that's happening is nothing, because you, even with cancer riddling your body and laying in this bed, you are still a world-class athlete and a father. And whatever things you did to be successful to do that, apply it now, even just one of them. And you start walking the next day, went by me, shook my hand. She gave me a hug and started crying. Wow. And, and I think to your point, people forget that when you're in that situation, you forget about who you were and what you've done. And you start looking at, can I get up? Will I be able to get up? And it starts in your mind, and I see it. And recently, a little bit of that happened to me, Tyler, when, I went almost 7 years without the sarcoma coming back. And my doctor said, we beat this, we're done. And then it came back in my leg, and I was good with my leg amputation, which is kind of crazy to say. But, I had to volunteer to go in the hospital for them to cut my leg off. And it was rescheduled 3 times. Man, that played mind games. I'm getting so geared up for it. Then they're like, no, we have to reschedule. I'm like,
Man, yeah, it's got to be a mind game right there.
Oh, man. But when they told me they had gone to my lungs, and normally that's a death sentence, my mindset changed. I'm like, I'm dead. And I'd never said that in my mind. And my family saw it. I laid down, Tyler. I think a day or two, I was just laying around. I cried by myself because I didn't want my family to see me. But I'm like, man, I'm a dead man now. And then I said, no, I've got this breath. I'm not dead. I can put on my leg and walk out in the sunshine and the blue skies. I'm not dead. And my forced recon Marine told me a couple of things that really stuck with me. He said, number one, Mr. Richie, what you're looking for is looking for you. And I realized I'm looking for a little more life, a little more breath, and one more step. And I kept saying that. And then the other thing he said was, what's done is done. I can't change these tumors that are in my lungs. What's done is done. But what I can do is get up with a smile, make as many steps as I can, jump rope without scaring too many people, lift, drink powders, eat healthy, and smile with my family and friends, and be inspired by, you have inspired me with all your posts, and inspire people by just trying your best. And so I say, what's done is done. I'm not dead. I'm looking for a little more breath, and I'm going to go chase it.
Man, that's amazing, brother. That attitude is just so amazing. And it's so, I feel like, David Goggins has a reference that he says he puts them in the cookie jar. Those victories that you won from wrestling matches, when you found breath that you didn't think you had on the mat at some point, when that coach poured some life into you and you went a little extra farther, when you overcame the first diagnosis and still came out joyful. Yes. To be able to pick yourself back up, that you go back to what he calls the cookie jar, those memories of those victories. And I think anybody who's getting hit today or maybe going through a rough season in life, take Richie's advice right here and go back to some of those victories. You can do it. You don't have to solve the whole thing at once, right? You're not trying to worry about what you're going to do 40 years from now. You're just worried about enjoying this next minute, winning this next minute. And I think that's such a powerful message, man, that everybody needs. That's awesome.
Love that. And one of the greatest things that happened too, David Goggins, when he hurt his foot and couldn't run, he's like, I was being a P-boy and then I decided to go. He's like, nothing's going to stop me. I sent him a tweet with me jump roping and working out and said, I lost my leg to cancer, but that's not stopping me. And he said, mad respect, brother. And I went to my son, Troy, and I'm like, David Goggins just said mad respect. I mean,
that's sick, man. I'd be framing that one, putting it up on my wall or something from Goggins. Is just a different creature, man.
I love that cookie jar thing because I just recently did that. When you lose one of your children under your watch, you hyperanalyze everything about every decision, about being a father. And when you get tired, things start to creep in your mind. And so, for me, it was, and I learned this with the loss of my brother too, you question everything. But then I just began to ask myself one question. Did my son love me and did I love my son? Yes. And that's the only answer I have to that. And when I was thinking about how I could have been a better father and if I could have saved him, what I could have done, I go back to when we were in Las Vegas watching Conor McGregor. And there's a video I've put up before, and I'll send it to you. Next to him and my son, Troy, I'm in a walker. We're down in the stadium. And when McGregor won, these Irish people behind us wrapped us in the flag. And my son, Conor's yelling, my son, Troy, and the energy pulsating through there, like nothing I've ever felt before. And so when I think about, was I a good father or not? Could I have saved my son, Conor, or not? I go back to that moment or other moments where we had just amazing time as a father and son. And I hold it in this little jar that's sacred when I need it, when I question, because so many people have lost loved ones to suicide or things in our control. And you always think you can do one more thing. And what if? But the only answer is, did they love you and did you love them? And then find little cookie jars of memories that you can rely on to say, I did my best at that time.
Yeah, that's what we're all trying to do at life. And I think that's why kindness and inspiring other people and meeting them where they are so important, because we're all fighting these battles, right? And it's funny you mentioned, I just started a couple of days ago doing a research for a new YouTube video on CTE, the head injuries. And I didn't know this, 99% of NFL guys come out of the NFL experiencing that. And then the suicide rates are like 300x what normal civilians are, or MMA fighters and people like this. So I think we don't know a lot about the human mind yet. We're still really new in that studying that, but it seems to be that the data shows a lot of pounding to the head, man. It does something that it can't just be cured by a dad being a good dad or a dad, there's much more behind that than what we know yet,
Right.
Yeah, man, that's
a great point. And your mind plays tricks on you, as a father, but I always go back to, I loved him. He loved me. I love him. He loves me. And I look at the just amazing times we had together as a father and son and his family. And I hold on to those dear.
That's awesome, brother. Well, man, I'm just honored to know you, brother. I want to plug, man, because I just got this stuff in the mail from you, dude. And I've drank it the last 3 days, man. The McPeak Back to Nature, dude. It's so good. I look terrible in hats, but
good on you.
But can you kind of tell people about your business a little bit and about your product? And by the way, I'm going to link Richie's Twitter below. I'm going to link everything this guy does below. Please check him out. This is a man that literally dude, he just inspires the crap out of me. He can inspire the crap out of you. If you've listened to him all here, man, you can tell what an amazing man this guy is. So show him some love, show him some support. And I'm telling you, it ain't even really doing anything for him. Do something for yourself, because the product is amazing. It's really good. It's easy. Dude, it tastes amazing. I've tried 3 flavors now. They're all delicious. So can you maybe tell the people a little bit about the business and behind that?
I would love to. As I alluded to earlier, I started a family health food store, listening to consumers, and then I came up through the ranks, working with some of the top companies in the world, supplement and organic companies, education, sales, sourcing, and I was fortunate enough to meet some great ingredient suppliers and food scientists and manufacturers. And so we originally created gummy supplements and had those in Publix, Wegmans, H-E-B, Whole Foods, everywhere. And our pillar of our excellence really was customer appreciation, customer satisfaction, and customer service. And those were goals that we wanted to do. So we started working on our powders. And the reason, we put them in single serve packets, ready to drink. You can take them anywhere with you on a trip, business, kids doing soccer, football. And we put a lot of passion and purpose into it. We saw most people above the age 50 are vitamin D deficient, zinc, micronutrient deficient. We know everyone is chronically dehydrated. And so we wanted to create something that tasted great, people could drink, they could take with them. So my personal favorite product is the Magnificent 7 mushrooms. I've been eating and drinking mushrooms for the last 20 years. And, a lot of my doctors, we did integrative medicine. They knew when I was going through chemotherapy, radiation, all my surgeries, I shared with them everything I was eating and drinking, all the supplements, all the fruits, vegetables, and spices. And they said, whatever you're doing, keep doing. Nobody's ever made it this far with this aggressive disease and this quality of life. So I was really excited when we put together the Mag 7 mushrooms. It's 7 organic mushrooms, lion's mane, turkey tail, cordyceps, and they each do something for our body like they do for the planet or the forest floor. As mushrooms heal, they do the same thing in our mind and body. So cordyceps give you energy, lion's mane focus and brain fog, turkey tail immune, and they have all of these amazing properties. But we wanted to make sure they tasted good, because everybody's like, mushrooms? I'm drinking mushrooms?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't like mushrooms. My wife will put mushrooms on pizza. And so when you said you were sending these to me, I was like, dude, I'm gonna be nice, but like, I don't know that I'll like them. And then so I poured the first one in. I was like, dude, this tastes great. And even my daughter, who, you know how it is with a 6-year-old kid, you're trying to get him to eat healthy. I was like, hey, try this really quick, the berry one. She's like, oh, that's delicious. So I was like, yeah, if she likes it, she's gonna be a tough critic,
That was the number one thing. Well, my daughter is a taste tester. So after a year of trying, she gave it 2 thumbs up. So the mushrooms are a strawberry Skrilla flavor. As you can attest, they taste like strawberries.
Yeah.
They smell wonderful. And we also wanted everything to be functional and with a purpose. So for instance, we put in acerola cherry. You have to have some acidity and a way to preserve it. So we used acerola cherry, which is also really high in vitamin C instead of citric acid. So you're getting a functionality of there's vitamin C in there from a fruit, acerola cherry, with all the mushrooms. And one of our key things, there's 0 grams of sugar in there.
Saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
What an epidemic sugar and diabetes and the others are doing. And we use a really high grade stevia that doesn't upset your stomach and people absolutely love. So the number one thing we get is mushrooms. How's that going to taste? Like mushroom? Yeah. And then we get 5-star reviews. We're so proud, Tyler. We've never had a single product returned because people didn't like the taste or the flavor.
Oh, I believe that, man. I mean, I'll be honest, Richie, to me, it tastes like almost like a Starburst or something, dude. It was like this burst of like really good flavor just right in your, right from the moment I drank, I was like, dude, this is great. I had a massive, I'm doing this thing right now called 75 hard. So you drink a whole gallon of water. Yeah. You drink a gallon of water a day. So dude, I just been pouring some in there. It's amazing, man. It's great stuff.
That's what I do. I'm drinking one right now.
Cheers, brother. I think we're setting world records on my podcast. All my guests are super into health. Usually we're always drinking so much water on the podcast. It's like, I think we're setting world records, man.
It's the key. And coincidentally, Tyler, it just happened at a timing that we launched the company the day my leg was amputated. So yeah, that was interesting.
Wow.
But you know, it goes back to putting the work in, small little investments. We've been building it for 2 years. Everything is sourced in the United States. All the manufacturing is in the United States. One of our key facilities is in Tampa, Florida. I built a team because I believe that as individuals, we get medals, teams win championships. So we have a former buyer from Whole Foods who innovative and led the market, Ron Stockman. We have this incredible woman who's led VP of sales and retail and foods, communication director, Eric Walker, who was with Coca-Cola and AT&T. So I surrounded with an amazing team of people, and I'm just one spoke on the wheel. Our co-founder, this brilliant food scientist and flavor scientist who is a father and wants healthy products, and you can tell by the taste how good he is at clean flavoring and clean ingredients. And so, you know, I looked at, no matter what happens to me, we have a team of people. We're woman-owned, we're woman-led. My family's a big part of it. My daughter does our TikToks and leads.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
You know, we're really proud. We're growing strategically, and people are loving the products. And we're very close to being in Whole Foods and some other key accounts.
Good
so
we're
really excited. And you know what, again, Tyler, it's excellence in investing a little bit each day. COVID, we've had some huge hiccups, but we've been fortunate because one of the things I did over 20 years, I never sourced or manufactured outside the United States. So I built some great partnerships. And so when everybody was struggling, when the whole world shut down, we were still able to continue because we had built that excellence within the United States.
I love that, man. That makes me happy. If I was president of the United States, man, I think the first thing I would do is give tax breaks to companies like you guys who we need to make more stuff here, man. I mean, we're outsourced everything. We don't make anything anymore, but you know, it's so the fact that you're doing it here in the US, providing jobs, providing, you know, all these purpose and all, you know, that's amazing, brother. I admire that. Everything about you, Richie, I admire, brother.
Thank you, Tyler. Same, my brother. I see your posts every day and share them with my family. You know,
I appreciate that, bro.
About, you know, people and the present and the planet. The other thing we do is everything is sustainable. You can see by our packaging, cartons. We don't do big plastic bottles and lids for the future of our kids. Your daughter, my daughter, sons, people's kids. So that's another key aspect. So everything that we did for the McPeak brand, every ingredient, the packaging, the manufacturing is with a passion and purpose of excellence. Man. And our families try it. It doesn't go out the door until we try it and we test it and then we send it out the door.
I love that. Well, guys, I'm going to link everything Richie does below. And again, try this stuff out, man. If this guy hasn't inspired you today, you probably don't have a heartbeat, I would say. And so, you know, you go check your pulse. But I mean, I'm telling you, just try this guy, one sample, order one sample, and I guarantee you'll be hooked like I am. So I appreciate that, brother. I always glance down. I can't believe we've been on this for 50. I always try and wrap these up around there. It goes like so 5 fast.
Minutes.
I know, man, but
man.
I do want to end every podcast what I call rapid fire questions, brother, where I'm just going to fire off like five quick questions. Give me your top response on these. All right.
I'm ready. Okay.
Number one, man, what would you consider the best moment of your life? And then the second part of that, what's the best part of every part of your day?
I think the best moment of my life was being on the National Lampoon Vacation and in Las Vegas with my family and watching a legend win and just spending time with each other. We went to parks and everywhere. I think, in fact, I'm sorry, I know this is rapid. After all that, we ended up at the top of Mount Zion at the Ponderosa under some stars in a little cabin eating hot dogs and Dr. Pepper because that's all they had. And we were like, this is life. That was the best moment, the top of Mount Zion. That's
in Utah, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we took the family to Zion like a year ago. We're actually going back. If my daughter's close, I can't say it loud, but we got her a surprise birthday present. We got a little Airbnb there. We take the whole family there here.
That's awesome. When's her birthday?
August 11th coming up. She'll be 7.
My daughter's July 30th.
Oh, really? Nice, dude. Oh, yeah, pretty close, man. That's pretty awesome.
The best moment of every day is walking outside, taking a deep breath. I look up to the skies. I do this every day. And I say, Richie, you're alive. Let's keep going.
That's awesome, brother. I love, do you follow Joey Devlin too on Twitter?
No, but it sounds like I need to.
He says that he tweets almost every morning. He's like, y'all ever just walk up, look up and say like, what a gift, you know, like, and it's so true.
I hit every day and every call. I've done this for years with have a great day. And you know, I couldn't imagine the difference it makes, especially you see when you go through drive-throughs and other things, and or even when somebody gives you a hard time on the phone, and you say, have a great day. At first they're like, are you serious? Or and some people like, that's the first nice thing anybody said to me.
Yeah, we can be that difference maker a lot, man. That's pretty cool. We can add something to their cookie jar. Maybe when they're struggling, we can give them a little bit. I like that, man. All right, man. I got to know this because I love watching you in the gym. It is literally one of my favorite things in the world, brother. Do you do headphones or no headphones in the gym? And if you're trying to like really go at it hard, what's that one song you're going to put on that's like going to fire Richie up?
Okay, so I do no headphones, but I have an Alexa or music pumping.
Okay, gotcha.
Where I'm at. And anything Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne, shout out to Lil Wayne, man.
Yes, anything, the sky's the limit, steady mobbing, uproar, the Gouda, anything Lil Wayne. When I'm going hard, the first time I got to pull up with my amputated leg, it was Lil Wayne.
There we go, man. I like that. Shout out to Lil Wayne, man. If this ever gets across, all these famous people retweet you. Maybe one day Lil Wayne will see this, man.
I hope so.
That's awesome, man. What's the most impactful either book or movie that you've ever seen, or most inspirational book or movie?
Lone Survivor, the movie and the book. What Marcus Luttrell and his brothers went through, and how hard Marcus fought for life, for his next breath, and fought for his brothers. And the pain that he went through living, because you feel some guilt. When I shared with them about my brother, when I lost my brother, because I was supposed to be with my brother that night when he was murdered, but I fell asleep because my son Conor was born, and so 4 guys jumped him. He fought for 20 minutes for his life. The detective said the toughest guy I've ever seen. And I told Marcus and Morgan Luttrell that I then came to the point where I said, I love Troy and Troy loves me, and that's the only answer I have. And he said he's going to hold that with him. Because when you live, with this leiomyosarcoma, almost everybody I've met from 7.5 years ago has died, Tyler. And so there's some guilt there that, you're still alive, you're still surviving. So you have to honor them. So what he did, the way he's honored his brother, honored himself, honored Navy SEALs, has been so impactful to me.
Yeah, man. I think I don't watch movies over and over again. I've probably seen that movie 5 or 6 times, man. If you ain't crying and getting chills in that parts of that movie, man, you ain't living,
That's it.
That's pretty awesome, man. This one's interesting. Who are your top 3 favorite Twitter follows, present company excluded, man?
Wow. So Conor McGregor, he's so entertaining.
Gotta be one, right?
Yeah. Cernovich.
Yeah. Great follow, man. Yeah.
And Zuby.
Yeah, shout out to Zuby, man. I love Zuby.
To me and has sent some nice messages. So I love Zuby's perspective. Just a real dude.
Yeah, dude, I got to hang out with him here in Vegas for 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
Like last year, and dude, he is even somehow cooler in person than he is on Twitter, and he's the coolest dude on Twitter. So yeah, he's
that's hard to imagine. Yeah,
I know,
a cool dude. He just keeps it real. I love his perspective.
I do too, man.
Yeah, and then Joe Rogan. I would love following Joe Rogan.
Yeah, dude, I listen to a lot of the Rogan podcast, man. Great dude, great thinker, man. He doesn't always say I always have the right answers or whatever, but he's going to think about it, challenge the way people think. I respect that a lot, man.
I love that. Yeah, I think people have stopped thinking.
Yes.
They're listening to others or what they should. But to your point, you can think for yourself. And guess what? If you think differently from me, then it doesn't mean you're a horrible human being. You're just thinking.
Bro, it'd be weird. Life would be so boring if we all thought the same way, but we got this segment of society now that wants to, if you don't agree with everything they think, they consider it violence and hate and this and that. And it's like, dude, it would be weird. We can come to the table, meet people where they are, I don't know. I had a guest on a couple of times ago that, Joe Lemon, who, dude, she literally put a tweet out that said, I hate white Christians. And I reached out to her and I said, I'm a white Christian, let's talk. I don't think you'll hate me when we get to know each other. And dude, we talked for an hour and a half, and guess what? We've DM'd a bunch. I can, we found common ground. Like, I think too often people just put themselves in these boxes that we're so different, this and that. I think media contributes to that a lot, but I don't know. I could go on that for those tangents forever, man.
I agree. What I found, we have so much more in common in human beings that we don't. I traveled to Mexico, Colombia, different parts of the world. What I saw, everybody's struggling the same to feed their family, to make it to their next breath, to find a way to be happy, to find a way to be successful, to not be harmed. We're all trying to do the same things.
That's right, brother.
Which is different ways, different thoughts.
That's right, man. Amen, brother. All right. Well, dude, last question here, my man, Richie. What's some future plans you got? I'm going to put all of your links below. Please, guys, check out this man, Richie. Give him a follow on Twitter. Check out his products. Check out his website. Check out his store. Go support him. Show him some love, man. And, tell the people your future plans, brother.
Thank you. A big plan. Our family, when I'm getting a new leg, an airlock leg. So I want to do some hiking and hike to the top of one of the mountains in the U.S. and see how hard I can push myself. We're gonna launch some more McPeak powders, and we're gonna do some gummy snacks, functional gummy snacks that taste delicious.
Nice.
And then get to 71 on my jet ski. I've got to 70. I think I got to trim my beard more, and hopefully I don't have to lose a little more leg. But that's the goal. Get to 71.
I love that, brother. That's awesome, man. Well, Richie, you inspire me again, brother. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for coming on, man. Much love. And I appreciate all the wisdom you share, the positivity, the encouragement. And I think a lot of people can have a lot of takeaways from lessons from your life, brother. So thanks for making us all better, my man.
Tyler, thank you so much for the opportunity and the inspiration. And I believe we're all here to uplift each other, and you uplift me. And blessings to your family, and have fun on the trip with your daughter, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Well, guys, this has been Tyrompers No Limit Podcast, episode number 41. It is sponsored by McPeak Back to Nature. Check it out in the links below, guys. Thank you to Richie McPeak for coming on, brother. I love you from the bottom of my heart, man. Go have the greatest day, guys. Be kind to others. Be kind to yourself. Go bless up. Let's have the greatest day, baby. Let's go get it.
Have a great day, Tyler.
Thanks, brother. You too.